Hey, Gaybros.
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
I'm going to be breaking things. I'm not going to be asking you where you are. I already know where you
Dang
are.
it, because I was going to say I was sitting under an atmospheric river
How many atmospheric rivers do you guys get in there?
in January. This is like the fifth one. It's ridiculous.
I'm a bit surprised because yesterday we were checking videos about the atmospheric river in Santiago, and it looks like it's pretty fucked up across all California.
So I'm going to give you this one weather fact, even though every week we promise we'll stop talking about weather. So from 1890 to 2020, the average yearly rainfall in Los Angeles is 14.75 inches. Today is a Wednesday. Since Sunday, 11 inches has fallen
Oh wow.
on Los Angeles. So like literally a year's worth of rain, almost.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, here we are not getting any rain. But people don't complain is that this is not like in California that is, hey, we're in a drought. Is that I guess that you guys are done with the drought? Because 2 years ago, when we were already recording this, I remember saying is that you guys are done with the drought.
But it's not rain in San Francisco that needs to happen. We just need
Yeah,
a
I know.
shit. Oh, we've talked about this.
Yeah, it's not here. It's in the mountains. Yeah, it's not there. But it's like, I always find like hilarious about, like, oh, we're in a drought. It's like, dude, it's raining non-stop for 2 weeks. What is going on?
After all this rain, I better not be expected to care about a massive wildfire that takes out towns all over Northern California because it's one or the other. One.
You know that San Francisco is not a representation about like what happens in the rest of the state.
No. There's nothing outside of the city.
Well, that's fair. Is that there is nothing worth of mention outside of the city in California. But, I still think that there are parts of LA that they're okay, to be fair. But what did we watch this time?
We watched the 2011 film Hanna, directed by Joe Wright and starring many, many talented actors.
It's funny that you say that, like, many talented actors, when the first act there are only two.
But they're very talented.
They're very talented, but they don't count as multiple actors. They count as two.
I was actually looking at the IMDb page, and I thought there were more like household names. No, there's really just the three. It's Cate Blanchett, Saoirse Ronan, and Eric Bana.
Yeah. But yes, this was your pick. What did you pick it?
I picked it because recently we've kind of been in the universe of Joe Wright. We watched Atonement. No, we didn't watch Atonement. We watched Anna Karenina. Is that all we watched? Was just the one?
Yeah, and we actually talked about a tournament as I rewatched it recently.
Oh, okay. So I really enjoyed Hanna. I saw it in the movie theaters when it came out. And out of our discussions about Atonement, I think we both agreed that Joe Wright is kind of one of the best, at least American actors working right now. He's American.
American directors?
Yes.
I'm going to say that a tournament is way better than people give credit for.
Stop giving away your opinions to him.
Dude, is that then don't actually put me against the wall. I'm not going to be acknowledging to something that I don't agree with. But as this was your pick, I guess that I have to summarize it. And this movie follows like Hanna, that is Saoirse Ronan, an 11-year-old or so girl that is being raised in Siberia, probably in a very snowy landscape by his father.
They call out her age as 11? I completely missed that. I believe you. I just missed that. That blows my mind.
You can extrapolate it, like from the perspective that we see in a scene where they're like running into the forest and they give a year about like this was the last time that we know about him and he shot his wife. And they were running towards the forest. So there is an indication. I'm saying 11, maybe it's not 11, maybe it's 13, maybe it's 9. I'm not completely sure, but let's just go with very young girl. 11 years old, for example. And she's being trained by her father. We don't know exactly why, but it's basically just trained into just survivalism, like just adaptability hand-to-hand combat. Yeah, hunting. Yeah. So, and we are given, everything is very like comic book in this. Because like at some point they are like repeating over and over, it's like, hey, you're not ready yet, but you're going to be like ready soon. And when she's ready, she's given like the choice of firing a signal that is going to be like making a woman hand them down, that is not going to stop until one of them is dead. So one day, as she actually wants to see like the outside world outside of this Siberia area where they live, is that she triggers the signal, and Eric Bana's her father, is that he actually just disappears with the idea of we will meet up again in Berlin.
But I love that when he disappears, they're like living like prehistoric
hermits.
people.
Yep.
Yeah.
They don't have electricity.
Yep. And he just walks off into the tundra.
Yep. Like, he saves down completely. He wears a fucking suit that he has been like saving for 10 years, and he just like walks away. That I love about that part is that, okay, so maybe there is a train station like 30 yards away, and they never saw it, but he just walks away, and with the idea of, hey, we will meet up again in Berlin in a specific address. And he gives him like a persona about like, hey, you live in Liebstein, Berlin, and you go to school, blah blah blah, and you have a dog, blah blah, whatever. So immediately like CIA agents show up.
Yeah.
So agents show up and basically hand Hanna. And they take her to a high security prison where she's being interrogated, and she requests for this woman, let me just check the name, Marisa Wigler.
She was just like there.
No, she was there, but it's like actually they know that it's like, that's
true. They were begging her, where is your father?
Yeah. And it's like, I will only talk with the Marisa Wigler. And then they send a double for Marisa Wigler. She kills the double, and she thinks that Marisa...
The woman from Downton Abbey. That's the woman from Downton Abbey.
Oh my God, okay. But then she escapes that high security prison after like killing unfathomable number of guards. And then she runs away into Morocco desert, where she actually befriends like
we find out that this prison is underneath the Moroccan desert, so really she just gets to the...
Yeah, she actually gets out and is in Morocco instead of in Siberia. So the rest of the movie is actually like a road trip from Morocco to actually get into Germany. And she tags along like this family...
going to Britain. Well, I guess Saoirse Ronan is going to Germany, but the family she travels with is only going to...
Dude, they fucking go to Spain.
Well, because have to. They're in a car driving from Morocco.
Yeah, but that's the definition of a road trip. Is that they stop in Spain, they start in Morocco, they take a ferry to Spain, and then they split ways in France, where they actually have like that. I think, dude, it's basically like 1, 2, 3 countries. That's the definition of a road trip. But
no, sorry, I just meant like she joins a family on their road trip, a British.
Yeah. She tags along to this British family, where she actually befriends like the most stupid teenager girl that I remember in recent memory, But I don't think that we have to go like into too much detail, because I think that it doesn't even like develop too much the character of anyone there. Hanna like opens
at the context that the real Marisa Wigler can't do with the illegal thing she wants to do within the CIA, so she hires a mercenary to try and kill her. So this entire road trip, she's being chased by basically an evil Ken doll, an evil German Ken doll.
That's true. It's an evil Ryan Gosling. You're absolutely right. But it's funny because in one of the flashbacks, we actually see Cate Blanchett just killing cold-blooded the partner or the wife of Eric Bana. Like from behind. And it's like, so you can do that, but you cannot chase this girl when you were already a CIA handler. It's like, what the fuck is the logic on this thing? It's like, I don't get it. But yeah, basically they get to Germany. We discover after they killed her grandmother, we discover that the mother of Hanna, she volunteered to a program. She was enlisted by Eric Bana into a program where they were going to be experimenting with babies to just making them like super soldiers. So we know that Hanna is genetically modified. She has like less emotions, but more physical abilities. Let's just go with that.
Probably intelligence.
I'm probably wait, yeah, intelligence too. When they get to Germany, it's like basically it's a bit more of trying to find each other, Eric Bana and Saoirse Ronan. So Eric, that I like, that is Eric Bana, that he plays Eric Heller.
Oh yeah, I love when actors use their first names.
Yeah, and Saoirse Ronan with Hanna. So Eric and Hanna are trying to find each other. They're supposed to be finding themselves in an amusement park inspired by Grimm's fables. There is like an abandoned amusement park that they actually rented or actually shooting in there, you know. But of course, Eric gives his life away for just like delaying, like killing that guy that is sent, the evil Ken that is sent to chasing Hannah down. And then there is like I don't know how to say, like a bit more of a face-off between Cate Blanchett and Saoirse Ronan. And that's messy. Hannah wins at the end, but she doesn't have anyone in the world. Maybe like that British family, she could go back to them if they survive, because we don't know.
Her emotions, it doesn't matter. She'll just go. She'll go on killing.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's a bit more of a prequel to a TV series in I don't know, in a very low-cost TV chain, honestly. And I'm giving my opinion already.
So you didn't like it, Jose?
I was surprised about watching a movie that it was from 2011 that it felt so 90s as this movie felt.
Interesting. I saw this when it came out. I think I may have seen it another time, so this may have been my third viewing.
Voluntarily.
Yeah, I really liked it. In 2011, I was like, that's a super fun film to watch. In fact, I just saw The Beekeeper, and I was wishing The Beekeeper was just 1/5 of how much fun I had watching Hanna.
Please, can you tell me what made it fun? And I'm not challenging or being like sassy or anything. I'm curious.
So you actually mentioned it earlier. This is like a comic book. Like, the plot is absolutely preposterous. It's ridiculous. But like a comic book that's completely ridiculous, I found it super entertaining. I thought it was super stylish. You can see kind of Joe Wright's style in it, I would argue. I thought
in some sense
performances were great. They got the Chemical Brothers to write this kick-ass original electronic soundtrack. Cate Blanchett's in it with a southern drawl. Are you kidding me? This has all the shit that's fun to watch as a guilty pleasure. Now, I will say in 2011, I didn't consider it a guilty pleasure. Now, I would.
Oh my God.
But still, even in this last viewing, it's super entertaining. I thought it was entertaining as hell.
Look, I felt like this was a derivative John Wick. And I know John Wick is like a derivative John Wick. And it's like, I know that John Wick was like many years later, and John Wick actually just builds from all of these spy assassin movies that they came before for just making like a trope out of it. I understand that, but it's like both of them, they have like this spirit of trying to be like a comic book kind of thing. And I think that even like in our invite that I always send you like an invite and I try to make a joke, I was talking about like, oh, let's talk about Nikita, or no, let's talk about like Leon, or let's just talk about like, there are like so many movies that they're about like a genetically modified young girl that it turns to be an assassin, but at the end they discover her feelings.
I want you to remember this self-righteous look of disdain you have on your face when you pick the next movie we watch.
True, that's fair, but it's like I never told you that the next movie is going to be good. I never told you, or even like entertaining in a high level way. For me, this was a bit more of a, dude, I've seen this movie done so many times before.
But you honestly didn't think it was done well? Yeah, it's super like, yes, it's been done a million times, but I don't like, I'd fucking watch it again.
One thing that I was telling on the first act, when they are like fighting on the snow, you know, after killing the deer, I was telling my boyfriend, he's like, look, this feels incredibly aged, like how they're shooting the action scene. It was like the shaky camera and super close-ups, you know, so it was like, oh my god, it's like, what is happening there? The funny thing is, like, then in the second act there are a couple of fights and they're like more like nowadays standard, about like more like fixed take, and they're like fighting that you can see exactly what is happening. But on the third act they fight in slow motion. Is that there is no consistency about like how the fighting gets portrayed. So for me, it was more about like, what the fuck are you thinking about this scene? There are like a lot of takes that it feels like from the 90s, about like, hey, let's do like crazy like spins on the camera when she's like running away.
Run, Lola, run.
I actually told that to my boyfriend. I told him like, look, this Germany part is that the music, even I know that is not like the same as Run Lola Run, but it fucking feels like it. And if you're going to be inspired by a movie that is like so 90s, you shouldn't be doing this in 2011. It's not cool.
I do want to call out that this film has 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, but my favorite review that I read was a negative one that said, Joe Wright is capable of so much better. This just feels like a never-ending trailer. Yes.
And I agree. I think that I said multiple times that I like Run Lola Run, but by today's standards, it feels a fucking video clip.
But also, wasn't Run Lola Run like 70 minutes or something?
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And it could have been a short because it would have been like just 10 minutes less.
It could have been about 10 minutes of her running and it would have been fun.
Yeah. But in this case, it was more of a, hey, someone in 2011 felt like this was a style worth reviving.
Do you know how I discovered this film? So apparently the writer, I'm going to get the details of this wrong, but the writer graduated film school. He wrote the script. He believed in it so much. He basically knocked on the door of every studio over and over and over and begged for it to get made. Everyone said no, until finally one studio, whoever made it, was like, yes, we'll do it. And so this script writer was on NPR talking about how he was just a kid with a dream. And then all of a sudden Joe Wright was directing Cate Blanchett in his movie. And that's why I went to see it, was that NPR, I think it was Fresh Air. They were interviewing him on Fresh Air. And I don't know why I told you that story.
Yeah, but this how you knew about this movie. Yeah. No, but it's like, now that you are like giving that and I appreciate it, it makes so much sense. Because this script is bad.
It's not that bad.
It's bad. It's bad. The other day, I was talking with a friend about the new season of True Detective, and we were talking about like, is this a trope or a cliché? And I started like differentiating between both of them, about like what is a trope and what is a cliché. About like cliché is going to be like pissing you off. You're going to feel like, dude, one more again is like, this is so derivative. And it's like a trope is like, hey, you're using like the basic elements of the genre, but you're doing it right. You know, nothing too special, nothing wrong, but it's that you're not reinventing anything, but it's like, it's a trope on this. I feel like this is a cliché on top of a cliché. It's a cliché in the 90s, it's a cliché, it's an outdated cliché in the 2011.
I don't disagree with almost anything you're saying. Yeah, it's definitely cliched, but for me, it's fun. And that's enough for me and this film. We always talk about taking into account what the film was trying to accomplish. Yeah. I think they were very clear that they were making a sexy action movie for the year 2011 and not in a year after that.
Do you remember like this movie with Cate Blanchett too? I had the feeling that sometimes it has a very wild car effect about like the projects that she actually chooses. But you remember like this movie for Netflix, Okja?
Oh, yes. Cate Blanchett's in that?
Yeah. Yeah, she's like the CEO from that company that is just doing... No, sorry, Tilda Swinton.
Oh, I was like, I would have watched Okja by now if Cate Blanchett was in it. Even Tilda's not enough for me to watch that film.
But what I was thinking is that, hey, someone thought that this was a cool idea at some point, you know?
Who was it? Bong Joon-ho?
Yeah, it was Bong Joon-ho, you know.
Cool.
But I feel it's like, hey, they're like some projects that it almost feel like someone thought that this was a good idea 20 years ago. and it got approved, and for whatever reason it didn't actually move forward.
Just got delayed and
got delayed, and then they actually revisited and they didn't get like approval again for the whole thing, and they just choose like the hot actors of the moment. But it's like, if I check a tournament and this is the next Joe Wright's movie, I just feel it's like this is not a train wreck, but it's like, I definitely feel like this is multiple steps below.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put this in the context of Atonement because I say this jokingly a lot, but Atonement is one of my favorite films of the last 20 years, probably. I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a step down or several flights of stairs down from Atonement. But I don't care, Jose. It was fun. And that's all the movie promised to deliver, and it delivered.
Honestly, don't get me wrong. I'm not criticizing you of this by being enjoyable or not. For me, it was more like I was expecting more.
But did you feel like it was like, I hear your point of view, but did you feel like it was entertaining at all, or was it like American Fiction for me, where I'm like, I really wish I hadn't watched this?
But come on, it's like we are talking about like a bit more of a personal perception. It's that when we're talking about American Fiction, you were saying is that, hey, for me, this resonates in a wrong way. It's that I don't have like I don't feel like reflected in any way. I didn't experiment with my fetus for having a super soldier.
It was a bad comparison, but I found, for instance, Hanna way more entertaining to watch than American Fiction. So I was just curious, you like this film less than I do, but did you at least find it entertaining, like in the way that we can stomach Tarsem Singh, because there's a lot of style, even if there's major problems?
But the problem is that the style that I find here is a style from the 90s.
But the 90s had a shit ton of style that's now back in style.
I don't agree, dude. It's that scene where she's like running away from the prison. That is like they even like turn the camera upside down and she like runs through the same corridor like 3 times, and they make you feel it's like, oh my god, this is a different part of the prison. It's like, it's terrible.
What's awesome about what you're saying is that like it's true. 100%. I see what you see. I can't defend it. No, you're right.
But the funny thing is that the first 20-30 minutes, there are a couple of scenes that they are more intimate, and they are like shot with some specific taste, some specific framing from Joe Wright that I feel is like, oh my god, that's him. It's more like, hey, we only see like half of the face of Saoirse Ronan, and it's like just like laying down and she steps up, and it's like, okay, the framing is amazing of this. It could be like a screenshot, it could be like just having it on printed here, I'm like, well, but it arrives into something so bizarre that it feels like, did Tom Tickwer from the 90s take over this, or what the fuck just happened? Is that why he needs to do this?
Like a Tom Tickwer film, like,
yeah,
not even Run Lola Run, like that Perfume film he did, Murder by Perfume, and then Try, like it's the same, it's that style, it really is.
But that's the part, is like, dude, you can do much more. You come from doing a tournament, and Anna Karenina, is true, it didn't land for me, but it's what I was saying, is that from a stylistic perspective, he's amazing. But in this case, I just feel like this was so derivative, so like, hey, I'm going to be like copying someone else's style, and it's not a good style for 2011. Even like the soundtrack, as you were saying about like Chemical Brothers, I just felt like, yeah, that's good, but Tom Tickwer did the same with the soundtrack of Run Lola Run. So
he had the Chemical Brothers write an entire new soundtrack, because that's cool. That's
in 2011. In 2011, honestly, dude, I used to love.
Hadn't been that cool in a long time.
I used to love the Chemical Brothers. I saw them live in 2000 and something.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah. After seeing Massive Attack, it was back to back with Massive Attack. So it's when they were cool, and they were like one of the best concerts that I've seen in my life. But you read this soundtrack in 2011, it just felt like this reinforces the 90s feels. Is that you're going for the 90s feels, and it's not coming across as cool. It's coming across as age. It's coming across as dated completely.
Well, to my young self, this was 13 years ago, so I would have been just like 17. I thought this was cool as fuck when it came out. I'll admit, in the 2024 viewing, it was like, okay, this isn't that great, but I still had fun.
Oh, no, that's fine. Do you know that there is an ongoing Hanna TV show?
About this?
And there has already 3 seasons.
Now that you mention it, I feel like I heard about this maybe 5 years ago, that it was going to come out.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was still going. Is it supposed to be any good?
I have no idea. I mean, it has an 80 on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's higher than Hanna. It's better than the movie itself. And it's on Prime Video. I only realized because when I was looking for where can I watch the movie, I saw that there was a TV show, and I was like, what the heck is this? I was even about to confirm.
The main actors, right? Because I will say that this film, it's more than tolerable. I enjoyed it, but it's carried by Cate Blanchett and Saoirse Ronan, which I think are both incredibly talented.
I agree with that.
I think he's talented. He wasn't asked to do much in this film, but
I think Saoirse Ronan does a good job, but I had the feeling that Cate Blanchett does a caricature. It's not really a role that she's playing.
But again, that's all that the script asked her to do, so she filled her role perfectly.
I don't fully agree from the perspective that is like, I love when Cate Blanchett plays caricatures. I think that I told you I really like Thor Ragnarok, that the enemy, the villain, is actually Cate Blanchett. And she plays like such an over-the-top caricature comic kind of character that it nails it. But in this case, I had the feeling that it's like, it doesn't even land with me. It's like, I want more. It's like, just go more crazy. But even like when she's, spoiler alert, but we already gave everything up, is that when she's shooting the wife, like from behind, it feels so messy, so out of place.
That didn't feel very CIA.
No. It's like, so you're like this master evil mind here, and you do this like that, and then you have to hire like a pimp for hunting a girl. Like, what the
she had 11, 12 years to rise up in the ranks of the CIA. She was clearly more important now, probably because she hid the murder. Nobody found out.
Sure. Should we go over the questions?
Yes.
Would you watch it again?
Yep.
You would? Okay.
100%.
Yeah. No, I would never watch this again. Sorry. I had enough. Would you recommend it?
Yep.
To whom? Dude, in what context?
I recommended it to you, and I still do.
So, did you watch going again to comic book movies, but did you watch Logan?
What is it?
Logan.
Is that the rated R X-Men movie?
Yeah, with Hugh Jackman. Yeah, you watch it. Is this a story?
Except this one was more fun to watch.
Yeah, but the other one was better, and I think that at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Fair point.
No, I wouldn't recommend it. I cannot even. If someone asks me about like, hey, I watched Logan, is there any other movie that it has exactly the same plot? I would be like, no, nothing that is worth of watching.
No, nothing comes to mind. Bye.
No, sorry. So no, I cannot fathom like an environment. If someone asks me, say, hey, I watched Atonement, I really love it, what I should watch next? It's like, yeah, I don't know. This is the only good like period piece and the only good movie that he ever directed.
I would tell him, watch that Joe Wright movie about the homeless cello player.
Oh, what was it?
It was the one he did with Hanna.
No, that was Atonement.
No, Atonement was long before Hanna.
Oh, sorry. Atonement, The Soloist, and then Hanna.
Soloist, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, I never was The Soloist.
I didn't either. That was a joke.
Okay. Would you remember it?
I remember everything that's in the trailer, which I feel like is enough that you remember a film. There are some details I forgot, but yes.
Yeah, I think that I would remember that is a genetically modified girl, like looking for vengeance. I guess.
I had forgotten the genetically modified part.
doesn't matter much.
No, it doesn't.
Is there anything artistic about it? This is an interesting one for this movie.
You're gonna laugh at this. I think the style is cool as hell. Yes, it's a little dated now, but it's like, what? We can't appreciate Brazil because it's super 80s style? No.
I'm going to make you worse, Brazil again, dude. I'm going to make you worse, Brazil. But no, what is? I'm curious. I'm not like criticizing or just like trying to be like taking a jab at this. But what makes it cool?
All the things I told you. I think the performances, they're exactly what we're asked by the script. I don't have a big of a problem with the cliched nature of the script. I think the music was cool. Yeah, it was 90s. It felt like the Tomb Raider soundtrack in like 1997. I don't care. It was cool. Some of the direction was cool. I liked so many things about this film.
I would love to watch an interview with Joe Wright. And just, or like even having an interview with him and just asking, is like, were you intended to make this movie in the 90s style? Or
maybe
do you
it was an homage to Tom Tykwer, and we're just
maybe it
looking at
was
it through the wrong lens.
Now, that may be fair, but there are like parts that is not like that,
No,
is that sometimes you, I know, but it's like a part of me just thought, is like, is this actually purposeful? Is this actually on purpose to just like try to be cheeky about like, hey, if this movie was released in the 90s, this is how it would feel, And that's the part I feel is like, I don't qualify something released 20 years later as artistic just because of copying something that we grew tired from. It's like, I was even thinking, it's like, dude, this is even more 90s than Hackers. It's ridiculously 90s.
I can respect how you feel, but I don't think just because somebody's replicating the style of something that's old means that it's not worth our time.
Oh, no. I'm not saying that it's worth or not worth our time. It's that I watched all of the seasons of Stranger Things, and that actually is more 80s than the 80s. So in this case, what I feel is like, it's a bit more of a surface level of just like copying the 90s. I didn't get like the blast that I get when I watch Run All Around. And I watched Run All Around in the 2000s. I didn't watch it on the original decade, And I can respect Hackers for what an absurd movie it is.
Did you just say, I can respect Hackers?
I can respect Hackers.
Podcast t-shirts that says, I can respect Hackers, period. Jose.
For what it is, it's a product of its time, And as a product of its time, if you take it in that context, it's like, look, it's stupid, but I can have a good time laughing at it. Not along it, laughing at it. I didn't laugh at Hanna or with Hanna.
No, there's nothing to laugh at in Hanna.
Yeah. So for me, actually, just moving to the next, I'm going to go with no. That I don't think that there is anything artistic. There are a couple of takes at the beginning that I felt is like, this can be amazing, but everything like watered down and disappear, like a lot of way. Is it a timeless piece?
100% it is.
I actually brought no, but I want to hear your reasoning, because from what I said earlier, that is like, this is a movie from the 90s in 2011. It will always be a movie from the 90s in 2011.
I hear what you're saying, and I see the evidence to support your arguments. For me, none of that really matters, because it was just fun. And so I watched it for the first time in 2011. Now it's been 13 years. I know that's not a tremendous amount of time. And it did change my opinion a little bit, but I had the same kind of fun that I did in 2011. And I think that's all this film was trying to do. And it was a success for me.
Okay. No, that's completely fair. For me, it's a big no. About like, yeah, it's, as I was saying, it's like, you could take it from the value of this is a 90s movie in 2011, and in 2030 it will still be a 90s movie in 2011. No one has changed, but it's a bit more of just fixated on the time that it was shot, and the time that it was trying to recreate. Let's just go with that. Now, a part of me, if I was a bit more evil and we were still living in San Francisco, I will actually ask you, tomorrow, let's meet up and let's watch it again.
I wouldn't give you that satisfaction. Never. I just wouldn't.
This could be like a protected piece of media that is, I would never watch it with you.
I have COVID.
Let's go to the next question. Would you turn it into a TV show?
Honestly, my answer is no. And this goes back to the funny quote I read from the review. This feels like a trailer, like a never-ending trailer. For me, that works as a feature-length film, but I don't want to watch hours of an extended trailer.
I agree. I'm just surprised that someone decided to pick this up for me.
That's crazy to me. I'm definitely
TV show.
going to watch season 1 way before I watch Fargo, just so you know.
Dude, just fuck you. Okay, that's everything that I have to say. Yeah, I would never turn it into a TV show. I just had the feeling that there is not enough background to these characters that I want to hear about, or more story that it can be developed, you know.
Especially since in the film they killed her mom, they killed her dad, and they killed her arch nemesis. What else is there to the story?
And her grandma. The only thing that I was just debating. Yeah, the grandma also gets married. But the only thing that I was thinking is that, maybe Sophie, the daughter of that family, of that British family, is that maybe she's a counter agent. I was expecting some kind of twist and just seeing like young girls fighting each other, but I never got that.
Damn it. The one thing that could have made this film better for Jose.
I don't think, no, I was expecting it. I wasn't saying that I would make it better. Could this have been a short?
Honestly, yeah. I think this could have been, I mean, it would have to be the 60 minutes or the 59 minutes, whatever, but you could get across this like high octane, like violent, running constantly with, you know, intense electronic music. You could get the point across in less time than the film.
Yeah. I agree. I think that it would be not even like a 59 minutes. I think that is like a 30 or even 20, you know.
I'm not going to disagree with you, even though I liked it more. You're right.
Yeah, this can be like just cut a lot of stuff because the character development doesn't drive to anywhere. The friendship with the girl doesn't drive anywhere.
Stay a little bit longer in this universe, just a little bit.
No, I just wanted to take a shower after watching it.
Did you watch it with your boyfriend?
Yeah.
Did he like it, or did you bully him into not liking it?
I had to start doing what you said about like with your husband, about like asking him about like you have to tell me first. You know, but because I think that we are both like pretty opinionated, pretty stubborn into we like this because X and Y, or we don't like it because X and Y, and we can be like just pretty actionable.
Or partners are like,
like shooting down other opinions. You know, I cannot shut up when someone tells me that, hey, I like it because X and Y is like, but did you realize about, you know, something else here that, you know, it doesn't match your opinion about this? And at the end, it's like this about feelings. And for him, it was like, okay, you know. He was like, even at the end, I think that he asked me, said, oh, did we watch this for your podcast? Seriously?
Screw you, boyfriend.
Actually,
shout out to your boyfriend, who's about 1/3 of our listenership. Thank you.
But let's go over the last question. Do you think that this movie could have been better?
Nope.
I don't know if asking. Why not.
So I want you to know, there's nothing I could point out. I see the issues that you have. I don't disregard them. None of those were issues for me. Again, I think this film wanted to be a never-ending trailer, and it succeeded, and that's enough for me.
That's fair. But I mean, in that school, I think that Run Lola Run is like way better than this.
This is weirdly making me want to watch some Tom Tykwer films, and there's not any good Tom Tykwer film. There's
Run Lola Run.
Tom Tykwer films, and that's it.
Run Lola Run, I think that is like better, but it's not much better than this.
It's pretty close. They have about the same quality, and I just check about the same amount.
I just check the scores from both. Is I don't do it. I'm curious, you know, about like what you're going to be like just scoring this movie. But yeah, for me, it's like this movie could have been better. But the problem that I have is that for making this movie better, I would have changed it almost completely.
If you need to make it a different film, then this film couldn't have been better. That's not what I meant. That's not how I'm just saying, if you have to change it so radically, then...
I think that there are like fundamental problems about like what they're trying to do with this movie. I think that the value that they're trying, or the spirit that they're trying to capture with it, is not worth capturing. Is that just let it go. The 90s are over. Just move on. Joe Wright. Is that you probably were 3 when the 90s were happening. Is that just move on with your life. They don't need to come back.
How old is Joe Wright? He was born in 72. He experienced the 90s fully.
Okay, the 90s are gone. Just leave like the design drags back. It's like it's fine. They don't need to come back. Leave Chemical Brothers like just retire. Okay.
I'm actually thinking like this was like at the end of the Chemical Brothers' career, and it was 13 years ago. What are they up to now?
I think that they're still active.
I'm sure they're still performing, but they've long left like center
their
stage.
prime. Their prime is long gone. Yeah, that's completely fair. So, should we score this movie? Should we score this video clip?
this trailer?
Yeah. So this was your pick. So my score is 5.5.
Mine is 7 because I had more fun than American Fiction.
Do you want to know what you score, Run Lola Run?
I do, but let me guess. I'm gonna guess I gave it a 6.5.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, my memory feels like a 6.5 movie.
Yeah. Run Lola Run is a movie that I remember liking more than I did when we watched it for the podcast. And this movie, it just felt like a derivative of Run Lola Run without a clear artistic vision. So for me, it's like, this is even worse. At least Tom Quicker was trying to be honest.
All I remember from the podcast viewing of Run Lola Run is that I was like, oh, so this was like a student film. Okay. Like a good student, a student showing promise, but...
Yeah, you get a gay for this. But yeah, this was an interesting exercise. I think that overall, I'm going to pretend that Joe Wright only directed one movie, that it was a tournament.
As much as it bums me out to say it, I agree.
Because it's like so many steps ahead from these other movies that it was from him, like Anna Karenina. Anna Karenina is like beautifully shot, but this movie, I don't think that is beautifully shot, and it's like it just confuses me why he directed this.
All right.
So I will never watch Pride and Prejudice. I'm being open and going live saying this. So for me, Joe Wright, I'm done.
Okay, so now after your lecture about not picking cliched, stereotypical things, tell me, Jose, what are we watching for next week's episode?
I'm not going to say why, but we're going to watch Starship Troopers by Paul Verhoeven.
I can't wait for you to tell us why next week.
Well, I mean, the only thing that I will say right now is that this is a 90s movie shot in the 90s, not like Hanna.
Like 90s style. So
it will be 90s styles, but shot in the 90s. Okay. Okay. Anything else to say about Hanna?
No, just don't believe Jose. This is a fun film.
Do you think that this is more enjoyable than? Oh my God, Neil Patrick Harris is in Starship Troopers. Do you think that Hanna is more enjoyable than Anna Karenina?
I mean, that's not a fair comparison. Like,
it's the same
a
director.
story by Tolstoy is obviously work. It's obviously work. Yes, Hanna was more fun, absolutely, than Anna Karenina.
That's fair. Anything else to say about it?
Just that question is like, is it easier to read War and Peace or look at memes? That's not a fair comparison. And I understand Joe Wright's version is not the level of Tolstoy, but that's the metaphor. No, nothing more to add about this film.
So to everyone out there, thank you so much for listening to us.
And until next time with Starship Troopers.
Okay, bye.
Bye.